Perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your words, Aziz. They were very encouraging, and we encourage people to come out to the Museum of the Moving Image. That's why we partner. We don't partner for non-intentionality. We partner to be intentional. And it is intentionally done that we chose to partner with the Museum of the Moving Image because of the work that they do in the community. Now, I am excited to introduce someone who brings unmatched energy. I thought my energy was good. Right. God. And passion to everything he does. He's a gaming icon, a storyteller, and an advocate for inclusion and diversity in tech. Please welcome the one and only HipHopGamer, who will join the Borough President for a fireside chat.
Yeah, let's go. All right, this is fire. So we're going to get right into it. All right, so D, we spoke on Hot 97 recently, and one thing I want to touch on is the $5 million that you dropping in for this tech hub. You know what I'm saying? So my question to you is, it's one thing to build something, it's another thing to sustain it and grow it. And we need everybody, we need the community to be able to do that. What do you need from us? Because you did your part. What do you need from us to continue to make that grow? What do you want the city of Queens to get out of it, bro? Talk to us.
So one of the things we're really focused on is making sure, and when you look at the tech industry, and I think the deputy and I go through these stats, and they're really alarming, how 14% of the tech industry is comprised of people of color. So we really, coming back from Africa, learning how they actually own their software. Matter of fact, what was interesting is when we went to the equivalent of Harvard University in Nigeria, and upstairs, guess who was upstairs? Like NYU, learning from them on how they diversify the tech industry in Africa. And what was also interesting is how Google and other companies were stationed there and really harnessing that talent, and not only harnessing the talent, but also investing in startup capital and major capital, and having competition. So we wanted to, on our trip back, we really thought about how could we bring that to Queens. We know that we have all these tech industry stations here, right? In New York City, we talk to Amazon, we talk to Google, we talk to Meta, and we said we want to bring something like this to Queens, the most diverse county in the United States of America. So what do I need for you to do? Show up. Because we're opening this space for you, and I often say that the first step is showing up. You miss every shot you don't take. That's an old saying. So we want to make sure that we don't have to leave this borough to really be able to facilitate an entry way for you into the gaming industry or into the tech industry.
Got you. Now, this is very important, I'm telling y'all, because there's so many people out there right now that's so far ahead because they wasn't afraid of what was coming. So now, my next question to you, because you do so much, work, you have so much talent in what you do. I want you to share with the audience why you became the borough president. I know we spoke about it briefly on 97, but you don't become great without going through a lot of trials and tribulations. And in order to be great, it comes at a cost and sacrifice. So a lot of times people want to look the part, but there's a lot that we go through to get to where we're at. Please, this interview and this fireside chat, I want to humanize my brother right here for a minute. Because I don't want y'all to look at him just as some symbol of politics. It's a real dude right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, clap it up. It's a real dude right here. And y'all need to know that he's approachable and he's really fighting for everybody. So let him know how you became and what drove you to become the borough president, bro.
Well, what I would say is always, it's not how you started, but how you finish. So it's not how you start. So if you're a student in this audience struggling, for instance, in school, I almost failed out of high school. I think my grade point average in the 10th grade was equivalent to the weather outside today. But let me say this, I one day made a decision that I wanted to make it. And something just clicked and went from an instant F student to an A student, to B student to A student. and really went on, and I was the first to go to college in my family, the first to graduate high school. Thanks my parents for the sacrifice. My father, true story, became a citizen in 2020. And the first election he can vote in was me for borough president, by the way. And my parents were teenagers when they had me. But really what inspired me was the murder of my childhood friend, Darnell Patterson. He got murdered, unfortunately, in Queens, in Southeast Queens when I was 18. And that led me to volunteering for my local council member and then eventually being hired in 2003. And I'll say to everybody here, you know, there's nothing wrong with volunteering, so I started the equivalent, I would say, a man with a broom and a dustpan, and worked my way up in every position from volunteer, intern, to community liaison, to scheduling, to legislative director, to district manager, so I worked every position before I was elected to the city council, and then subsequently to becoming the borough president.
Got you. So now, one thing I want to tell y'all that's very important, and obviously, especially like coming from the hood and everything like that, we all know a lot of the gossip that may go on. You know what I'm saying? You see everything all day. You know what I'm saying? It could be Sexy Red did this or this article that. You know what I'm saying? You can know all these other things, but the things that you really need to know, we don't. So my question to you is, even from, because we spoke about this briefly, but I told you I was going to bring it back up, but even from a media standpoint, all day, every day, we on our phones, we doing all these other things, and we putting the word out. So what can we do, or how can we be supportive to you to like create things in Queens, whether it's a brand new podcast, whether it's like this show or that, because there's so much talent in the room that we could get the word out and keep that word out, even in schools, so that the tech hub isn't something that you invested in that nobody uses. It's something that you invested in and it becomes a part of our lives, like Saturday morning cartoons back in the day, getting up in the morning, you know what I'm saying? So how do we, get with you and your team so we can create things to make it sustainable so we can be able to partake in this new generation of AI and tech and gaming?
Well, each one of you are ambassadors, right? So it's really about information sharing to start off. And I also want you to know I've invested $78 million into schools since I've been borough president. We'll be announcing $30 million to schools across Queens in the first week of February.
We got to spin the chain. Spin the chain or something like that.
We're focused even on tech within the schools. So we really want to see our schools more focused on that. But a lot of times what we found is our schools did not have the necessary capital. So for instance, Campus Magnet in Southeast Queens, they have a gaming program. So the principal had to take money out of his own budget to create this gaming program. So they're teaching gaming in some of our schools. And one of the things I want to do is expand on that. So and that takes money. You know, money doesn't grow on trees, but one of the things we do is with the budget we're allocated every year, and I've invested over $250 million back at the Queens since I've been borough president. Wow. We're utilizing that money, and let me say this, we, for instance, just announced a cancer center with the governor last week, $180 million, the first standalone cancer center. But one of the things I'm also finding from the hospitals, so if you go to Elmhurst Hospital, Jamaica, robotics. In the future of surgery, right, being done by, unfortunately, I don't want to say robots, but yeah. And we are purchasing that equipment, and what we're finding is, even when they go on to do major surgeries, like the precision of these robots is, it's just amazing. So we built out a new surgery lab. So who's programming these things, right? The people in this room. And I think that's the most important thing, is how do we grow that talent in Queens and then make sure we're utilizing and tapping into it for our human capital as well, something they're doing in Africa.
Got you. So now, one thing I want to ask you is, how did you break, like, a lot of times people got a fear of being great. And I'm pretty sure we all gone through those moments where it's like, we want to do something, but the society says this, and then you're battling, thinking about, dang, the opinion of somebody that I don't even know is more valuable than the way I think of myself. Like, people go through that every day, all the time. In your opinion and in your lifestyle, how did you break that? Because when you think about all the opportunity here, there's a lot of people here that's right now that's listening, but not everyone may not take the shot. So how do we break down that barrier? Because if you don't break that down, you're not gonna even get a chance to get started.
It's evolution, right? And just because I'm borough president doesn't mean that I don't have fear and anxiety sometimes, right? I'm fearful of what this administration is going to do that just came into Washington, D.C., right? However, as a leader, it is my job to make sure as we go through these trials and tribulations that we are arming the community with the information, that we're defending our values across Queens County. What I would say is, being elected, you always want everybody to love you. But one of the things I found is that I'm not here to be loved by everybody, right? We're here during this time to be able to build this borough. And with 2.4 million people, you have 2.4 million different opinions, right? And you're just not going, it's impossible. You can't be everything to everybody. So I think for me, it's just standing firm in those values, whether they're popular or not. I've taken some hard votes, which weren't popular in days, right? But at the end of the day, as long as people are housed in this borough, right? Because I take a lot of controversial housing votes. Matter of fact, a development not too far from here, Innovation Queens, was one of my first tough votes as borough president. And there were rallies against me, but then guess what? People woke up and they realized, wait, we are in a housing crisis. We do need to build. So sometimes it's about you got to stand on your values and don't move from those values. And I found that to be, like I said, not easy every day. But like I said, I can look myself in the mirror and lay my head down on the pillow knowing that I've done the best that I could.
Absolutely. So I got a couple more questions before we get into this battle. And stuff like that. I got a couple more questions before we get into this battle. But one thing I want to say to y'all, there's a quote that I created that my brother Donovan embodies. And that quote is, listen to this, like capture this. This is one of those moments, dog. So catch this. Like, it's called character is your currency. I'm gonna say it again. Character is your currency. The value is already in who you are. Like, you got it. You know what I'm saying? I want you to understand that. Character is your currency. So be trying to be wealthy out here. Yeah, pop it up. Yeah, that's what it's hard. That's what it's hard. You know what I'm saying? So we trying to be wealthy out here through our character. Because don't get me wrong, you can have a lot of money, but you'd be surprised at what people will do for you simply because of who you are. And that's gonna go further in your life. You know what I'm saying? So look around you. The very next step in your life could be right here in this room. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to talk to nobody. Don't think you too cool to be like, yeah, I don't know, yeah, all right. 10 years later, you're gonna wish you wasn't too cool because that person will be here and you'll be like, yo, son, what about this? Nah, we ain't doing it like that. The time is now, let's get it popping. So major question for you, man. Yeah, like facts, Ed. So like major question for you, because I was thinking about this, I didn't get a chance to ask you this when you did the interview on I-97. So one of the things I wanted to know is your strategy. So when you're looking at all the stuff that you invested in and stuff like that, what is the strategy that you have, or how do you choose the people you choose to have around you in your team in order to execute? Because if we could talk all day, if you can't execute, it ain't gonna happen. How are you able to execute? Because if they can do that, we ain't nobody stopping nothing we doing if we can execute, especially if we can execute together. How do we do it, bro?
So there's no I in team. And the people, the 70 individuals who I don't say work for me, but work alongside me, these are individuals who are driven to make a difference in this community. So I always use this quote when I speak at graduations. Turkeys don't soar with eagles. Turkeys can't soar with eagles, so you gotta hang with some eagles. Did you ever see a turkey soaring with an eagle? No. Never. So to be an eagle, you have to surround yourself with people who are like-minded with you. And for your young, especially young people, because I see you here, be mindful of your company. Your company can bring you down, and I've seen that happen to a lot of friends. And I had to make actually, tough choices. Not to say all my friends were bad growing up, but sort of as you elevate, you're gonna find it hard to hang with people on the block that you used to. And I think that that's critical and key in knowing that elevation, as you elevate, you can't bring everybody with you. You wanna try to bring people around and motivate them, but you can't motivate them. They have to motivate themselves. You have to motivate yourself. So I say that has been key in my life. Unfortunately, I couldn't go back to the block and smoke weed.
Keep it a buck.
That was the transition, right? Cannabis. I'm sorry, that's the proper word. Don't smoke cannabis, not any young people. But I'm just saying, we had to. But listen, as you elevated, you're in different spaces. You know, I've had the honor of hosting presidents of different countries at my office. Had the pleasure of hosting President Biden here. Had the pleasure of meeting Kamala Harris and working on a $19 billion project at JFK. As for those of you who fly, that construction, I co-chaired the redevelopment of that construction with Congressmember Meeks. So it has really been a journey, and while I realize I love my people and I love the people I grew up with, as you transition up, unfortunately, it could be lonely at the top. But no I in team, right? You need a good team around you.
Absolutely. So this is going to be a two-part question. We're going to wrap it up with this, and then we're going to get to this battle. So the first part of this question is, this is Hot 97. So I know you spoke about, like Nas, Illmatic, and stuff like that. I would love, yeah. I know she like yeah, Nas.
I got to hang with Nas.
You know what I'm saying? So I want you to share that even though he's somebody that you listened to, you loved growing up, and stuff like that, but you was able to actually build a bond like with him and stuff like that. I want you to share the importance of relationship. So that's one part of the question. And then the second part, on top of the relationship, I want you to talk about how at the end of the day, what really matters is how we all can empower one another in order for all of us to win. So please share the Nas and how impactful that was, but the importance of the only way to win is when we win.
Right. Relationships are key in every single thing you do. And what's interesting is that I actually had studied, thought I was gonna go into music business management, ended up graduating with an aviation degree. And then, full story, because I worked for a guy by the name of Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty was the manager of 50 Cent. He was the guy in the back that most people didn't know. But when my friend got murdered, it sort of took my life when, I did a 360. And it's pretty interesting because, and he passed away unfortunately, and during COVID, unfortunately, untimely death. But what's interesting is I still get to dibble in that world a little bit. So how many people go to Governor's Ball? If you're in this room,
Governor's Ball is crazy. I saw a hand up over there, you know what I'm saying? She be wilding out over there, be having fun. Okay, I see.
So we moved Governor's Ball to Flushing Meadows Corona Park. I got to do that as borough president to give real opportunity, including the folks in this room, probably some folks in this room. But let me say this. The relationship one was I'm hanging with Nas and he's asking me, tell me about your day. And I'm huh? You want to know about my day? I want to know about your day. But this industry in government, at least the way we are, not every borough president is a hip hop fan, but I get to have the honor of hosting a lot of concerts, hosting a lot of cultural things, working with Phil, who does a lot of the concerts in the office. And it's really been fascinating to merge all of these worlds together. And you talked about how could we be stronger together. You don't have to pull people down to move up.
Thank you.
You don't have to pull, and you could compete. And I love competition.
Yeah,
I talk about that 200.
And we about to see, we about to see that competition.
I talk about that 252. When I say Queens get the money, I'm looking at the other borough presidents. That if you're filming this, let them know I said it. And I say Queens is always going to be number one.
Oh.
We're always going to be number one. And you look at some of the progress. Listen, we're building a soccer stadium in Queens, right?
Facts,
the first in the city. You look at housing. You look at green energy. I'm working on the first net zero community in New York City, which will produce literally its own energy on the Rockaway Peninsula, on Rockaway Beach. So it's really been fascinating, but none of this can be done without relationships. And what I find is when you are good to people, because you can be elected and I call it getting memberhead. When people get memberhead, they start to walk into a room and they have to, you gotta stand up when they walk in. That's not what it's about. That's really not what it's about. When you're good to people, you'll find that they want to move your stuff faster than others. So I talked about, because government is a big bureaucracy. So if I got a commissioner who really likes me, she's gonna move, or he is gonna move my projects forward. I'm building a new community center at Roy Wilkins Park. We're gonna build a new Boys and Girls Club in Astoria. all of these things can only happen because of relationships. And when you have relationships, I often find too, if I have to go sit with the governor, for instance, or the mayor, those relationships matter because you're walking out. And I always have an ask.
Yes.
And I always have an ask for you, not for me, for you.
That's right.
Always have an ask for you. And when I walk out of those rooms, we get everything, 90% of what we want, I'll say. And we're still working on that big 10% for you. So build relationships, build bonds, treat everybody with respect. Because I remember before I was elected, there would be people who really treated me horribly. And my philosophy is, even though I remember, I don't treat them bad, but I just keep it in the back of my mind. I remember when you talked to me that way and it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it might have just been my race and you just might have thought little of me because I was young.
Yeah.
So treat everybody with respect because you never know where they're gonna be.
And yo, before we get up in this game, I'm a second that. So from 2001 to 2014, I supervised the mailroom for all the record labels, right? So Interscope, I was there when 50 Cent got signed in 2003, all of that. I was there for everything. Universal, Interscope, you name it, I was there. Motown, you name it. So the thing is, what's very interesting is, how they talk about somebody in the mailroom, they're considered at the bottom, right? What's very interesting is that I'm in the mailroom. There's a gentleman by the name of Davey D. I'm pushing my cart, delivering mail to him. He controls a lot of what goes on the radio. He told me personally, like, yo, bro, you need to get out of here. Hot 97 could use you. I don't want to see you here no more. Because while I was delivering mail, I would have to, during my lunch break, change clothes to go interview like Kevin Hart and Ryan Reynolds and all types of stuff like that during my lunch break. And then come back and put my mailroom clothes on and all this other stuff. You gotta make it happen. And what starts to happen is people that look down to you because you're in the mailroom, what they say is not what God has for you. You understand what I'm talking about? And you know what I'm saying? So with what you said about I remember too, but I also know who I belong to. So the way I operate is, regardless of what you did for me, what can we do now? People can change. So as we change, let's grow together. We got the tech hub coming. We got all these things popping. Let's make it happen now, son. Real. So this is the Tech and Career Expo. There's a lot of vendors. Talk to everybody. Don't walk around. Get a card, talk to everybody. And the first thing is, if you ask about what they're doing, also ask how you can be helpful to them. How can you help them build? Because if you helping somebody else's dream, that's going to get your dream done too. So I love y'all, and let's get ready for this battle, baby. You ready?
I'm ready to come again.
Let's go, Queens, get the money! Yo, y'all never seen Donovan Richards play a game before. We're about to get it all right now. Let's go. Let's go. I'm not Lee, Joe Frazier. HipHopGamer, Hot 97. Queens get the money. Donovan Richards, Queens Borough president. Let's get it popping. On the count of three, I want y'all to make some noise. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Let's go. Let's go, baby. Joe Frazier.
Why are we sitting?
Ready, baby? Let's go.
Why am I doing
Let's go. Oh, okay. All right, okay. Come out, sweet, man. All right. Oh. Let's go, baby! You know what it is! I'm not getting up. I think I got one more form. I got one more form. One more form. Round almost over. I got one more form.
It's not how many times you get knocked down.
Oh no, he's done. He's done. Give it up for Donovan Richards. You know what I'm saying? Queensboro president. My brother, I love you, man. Yo, but look, you the real champion. Where the belt? Where the belt? Hold up, we gotta get pictures. We gotta get pictures. He's the real champion, though. Word up. You go on your shoulder, baby. Let's get it. We gonna take these pictures. Let's go. Word up.
Word up.
Yeah. Let's go.
That was good joke, great.
Let's go. My brother.
Lee really did that.
Love you, man. God bless you. Crazy. All right?